Alright, we should be going live soon. Have some technical going on. I had to create a new stream. Let's see, view on the watch page. Can you hop over to here?
I should go click that link, correct?
Yes, you should be able to. In the meantime, sorry, had to set up a new stream because the one was bugging out. Alright, so on this other one, sorry guys, backup plans. Okay, please turn off the volume on that machine because I'm going to hear an echo. For it's like a 30-second delay. That's another thing. Okay, so real quick, I need to do some quick stuff on social media to get set up because thanks YouTube, screwing me up big time. Here we go. Change of plans. New feed is here. Publish. And then I'm going to get on the Twitters real fast. Oops. Change of plans. New is here. Okay, and I'm going to change it in one other place. I should probably just change it on my actual website, shouldn't I? Admin. Yeah, so this is a slightly rocky start to this show. Hope you guys are doing pretty well out there. Yes, just give me a slight moment. I've got to completely rebuild this whole event here because the one that was been scheduled for like 3 weeks simply just doesn't work. Yeah, I was like freaking out because I had like 5 minutes to get online. I'm like, nothing is working. I don't know what the heck is going on. Because for whatever reason, any little software changes that YouTube does, any software changes that my encoders and all this like multiple lines of technology to do this stream, if something changes, it is just like the Wild West or something. Nothing seems to work right. So let me fiddle with this for just a second longer here. And we shall get going. We have lots to talk about today. And I wasn't planning on drinking much, but I am really, really, really glad that I got myself a Christmas ale for this show because I need a drink right now. Not even joking. Alright, so I just need to make sure that the video plays correctly on titlegardens.com. So let's see if this works. Maybe. Maybe. Alright, good. It looks like that is working. Okay, so I can close that down, and then I need to do one last thing so you guys can actually see chat, because right now chat is not available. So I'm going to delete this guy. I'm going to create new remote local desktop presenter, capture type window, select the window. I want to show you backup stream. Okay, don't want to show you the cursor. And let's see. Okay, so let's quickly pare this down, move it into the right spot. Left, right. And I'm sorry I'm not reading chat right now. Because I am slightly busy and slash panicked. I'll tell you all about Hawaii. I did catch that little bit on the chat there. All right. So now we can see chat, thankfully. All right, so I have no idea how many people are actually going to show up since we kind of like moved the location of this party right before it started. But yeah, we may as well get started with some of the fun stuff that had gone on. So happy holidays, everyone! I was going to wear something like a Santa hat or some like antlers or something like that. But when we went out just before the show to run some errands, I couldn't find any place that actually sold any of these little novelty items. It's completely crazy that there's all this Christmas stuff going on, but I wasn't able to actually find any place that would just like sell something so simple. But I did find beer. So for all you people that really like to watch me get drunk during this show, you might see some of that, especially after like such a little rough, rocky start to the show. I am actually just back from vacation. My family and another family we tend to vacation together. We went to Hawaii for a week, and actually the rest of my family is still over there. I had to come back partly because I have to operate this business. So I was only able to be there for a week, but I have tons of little stories about Hawaii, which is like an amazing place to go vacation come December. All right, so I am going to try to pay as much attention as I can to chat this time, because the person right now that's currently operating the chat for me, he's my new employee. His name's Kyle, and right now he's more or less in training mode. So we shall see. The person behind the camera is Michael. And if you recall Michael, he was the person that was operating the camera last time that we were drinking alcohol. So, hey, if you want to join along, feel free to get the beverage of your choice. This should be kind of interesting. All right, so hopefully I didn't miss any good questions so far. So, for the folks that are new to this whole thing and are wondering like how a live sale works, I've kind of like posted the little instructions there. You watch us live on YouTube, assuming that I can actually make it work. But then to actually purchase corals, you go to titlegardens.com. There's a live sale section. You can find it really easily by being on that front page, and you'll see like a red blinking dot that says live sale. And once you go there, you should see a list of about 150 items or so. And like as we go, we will cover like items 1 through 150. Now for this particular live sale, we do have some dry goods, and I'm also doing a little bit of a giveaway. We have like these bottles of Coral RX that are like either about to expire or have expired, so I can't really sell them to anybody. So I'm 100% sure they still work, because we've been using expired Coral RX stuff for like years, and it's fine. So I'll be giving that stuff out randomly. So yeah, it's not like the first person who buys X number of corals or anything like that. It's going to be completely random. You just might, in your orders, receive some Coral RX. Okay. Have any bounce mushrooms in the future? Not on this live sale, but I hope to get some. But my friend Nathan, you've probably seen his tank now like a billion times on my channel. I am on the wait list to get one of his bounce mushrooms. Can we look forward to some awesome photography from Hawaii? There's like some pictures here and there on Facebook and Instagram, but not a ton. Like I didn't take my giant camera. Like, okay, so my next video is going to be about my ridiculous camera setup. And unfortunately, ridiculous camera setups are great for like production, but they're not great for vacationing. So I didn't even bother hauling it because it would literally be an entire piece of luggage, and I wanted to travel really light and kind of do nothing when I was on vacation, or do nothing that required any effort other than scuba diving. So, anyway. So, hello everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. Only about 10 minutes late. All right, first coral here is a painted trachea. The lights on this particular tank, we are in the process of setting up a new system here. We were reworking some of the glass tanks, and we don't have T5s for all of our systems yet. So this particular set here is kind of under like a 50-50-ish actinic and white LED system. So a lot of the colors on screen are going to be a little bit goofy until we swing around. So maybe like the first dozen or so items are going to be kind of wonky. All right, let's move ahead. Number 2. Get out of the way, Tang. So this guy's like the neon green Akan Bauer Banky. So first off, let me ask you guys, how many of you have been diving or are certified divers? Back in like 2012, I got certified. And so this is like my first time going back diving since that time. So it's been like a 3-year layoff where I basically forgot just about everything except for like a few rudimentary hand signs and stuff like that. Like, you know, how much oxygen do you have, and like shark, stuff like that, right? Or I need to go up, go down, I'm okay. So anyway, for the first dive trip, let's move on to number 3, another Akan Bauer Banky. So the first part of the trip, I went to Kauai and did some diving around there, which was like kind of slightly disappointing, but I was okay with it because I just like to just the process of diving. I think is like really cool, and I get to work on my skills, my buoyancy, and all that stuff. So if you didn't know about buoyancy, like your lungs and the pressure of the water plays a big role in it. So the shallower you are, the more the air in your lungs expands. So you'll want to float up naturally. And the deeper you go, your lungs compress, and so you'll sink. So it's kind of this balancing game you have to play with your breath to control where you're going to be in the water column. So like right now, I'm still kind of like, going up and down and up and down. And so it was good to kind of like work out that skill set just a little bit, and conserving oxygen. Okay, next coral, number 4. A purple sparkle Akan Bauer Banky. So I did 2 beginner dives, and I did pretty well. I was able to conserve oxygen and stay down for about like 45 to 50 minutes per tank. Once I got to Waikiki, I did like an advanced dive, and I immediately knew I was in for a little bit of craziness because like all the other divers there, like all of them, were like super hardcore. They showed up with like all their like mega gear. They like turned into like a transformer where they had like like engines and stuff where that would like almost like an underwater sea-doo sort of thing that had like camera mounts and lights everywhere. And me, I just got like a wetsuit and whatever else they're gonna give me. So they had like all this tricked out gear. They had like like 3 cameras, like 2 on their wrist, 1 on their head, 1 on their machines and stuff. And once we got on the boat, next coral, number 5. Once we got on the boat, everybody starts like frantically like assembling all their gear, and I'm like looking at my stuff, and I'm just thinking, okay, well, what am I responsible for, and what has the dive shop done? Because I know that if I forget to do something, I'm gonna die. Because on this advanced dive, this is the first time that we're going into like 100 feet of water. And there's like some complications between like the recreational dive stuff that's at like 30 feet of water versus 100 feet. And so like you could kind of slightly die at 100 feet a lot easier than at 30 feet. So, and I'm like, this is the first time I've ever done this. I'm like super intimidated, and I don't even remember all my skills exactly. And I don't remember how to put everything together perfectly, and everybody else is like frantically like assembling all their transformers and stuff. So I'm like just kind of looking around like, hey guys, how does it look? Am I all set up or what? But finally, when I did get in the water, it was like really cool. Next coral. because so we should be on number 6 now. It was really cool because we actually saw like a shipwreck, which for this particular dive was like a World War II fighter plane that was down at about 100 feet. And it's like on this, it's just all by itself in this sand. And the entire sand bed has garden eels, like as far as the eye can see. So it's like all these like thousands and thousands of garden eels. And you have this like this airplane all by itself. It's like super sweet. But I blew through my oxygen so fast. I was maybe only down there for about like 15 minutes and had to come up because number one, I'm out of shape, and so I'm like breathing like crazy. The other thing is the current was so crazy strong that day that if you got caught in it wrong, you could literally just be swimming against it and not moving, which is like kind of terrifying. So I'm like, I'm not going to be some cowboy hero. Like the number one thing that I wanted to do was get up alive. If I happened to see a plane, cool. If I didn't, just get up alive. And so I did. All right. Number 7. Another little A-can Bauer Banky. So yeah, that was definitely a bit of an adventure. We were able to see sea turtles. We saw sharks, which like during the day sharks are boring as heck because they're just like sleeping under a ledge. They don't do anything. But it's like, yeah, there's sharks. I'm like, great. And like the dive master was like calling me over. It's like, come look at the shark. And I'm like, dude, it's a sleeping shark. What are you going to do? It's like this 4-foot little guy. But the other thing that we were doing in the second part after that deep dive was about like a 50-foot dive, and we went through like caves and stuff. And that was the first time I went through caves, which was kind of like pretty interesting to see. And I was just thinking, you know what? Like my dumbass is gonna get caught on something, and I'm just gonna stay in this cave forever. But luckily, made it through the caves. So yeah, definitely that second dive trip was like a much bigger adventure than I was planning on. Number 8. You want to go other way? There we go. And you can lighten it just a little bit. Yeah, I'm glad I made it back alive too. Like so the guys it's a little dark. A little dark. Yeah, go the other way. So the guys before we left were telling all these stories about dives. And one guy said that he was partnered up with a guy that whenever he would ask, how much air do you have left? This dude was lying about how much air he had. And I can't even fathom how crazy that is to like lie about your oxygen level while diving. That's an alien concept to me. Like what motivation would you have to do that? Like that you can stay down there longer, because I guarantee you can't by lying about it. So yeah, they were exchanging all kinds of wild stories. All right, moving on. Number 9. A second of the two. This guy's a little bit more teal than the previous one that was more purple, in case you're wondering what the difference was. So the other thing that was kind of interesting about the dive was the people on the boat. They all the staff looked like celebrities, like specific celebrities. So like the dive master looked like John McCain. So if you guys that are overseas don't know who John McCain is, he was like he's a congressman here that was also like a presidential candidate. And he looks not just like some guy that looks like John McCain. He looked exactly like separated at birth, could have been John McCain on my boat. Like that's how close he looked to that guy. Another girl that was on the boat, she was like a deckhand or something. She looks just like a combination of like Misha Tate, who's that UFC fighter, or that singer Joss Stone. It looks just like her. But okay, so how many guys out there in stream watch Game of Thrones? So the Oberyn, like Prince Oberyn Martell, that character who's played by Pedro Pascal. Pedro Pascal. So like good looking guy, looks very kind of like a Spanishy, ethnic-y type. This particular guy on the ship looked just like Pedro Pascal. With one possible difference is that he had 3 nipples. So it's like the 3-nippled Pedro Pascal was on my boat as well. Anyway, okay, let's move on. Number 10. Okay, so this is the first time we're going to be selling some equipment here. So the first thing that I've got going on is you're going to see a box for a Gen 3 Radeon. We've got two of these available. They're going to be a little bit less than whatever because they're not. I'm going to go ahead and call them used, but they're unopened. We purchased these to set up on a tank, but we never ended up using them for such. So they're, I don't know, it's a few dollars off. I don't have the price listed here, but if you go to the website, it's you can like check out with it if you wanted to. We are trying to use a little bit more T5 these days, a little bit less LED. So we kind of had these units. So the first one here, we got two of these Gen 3 units. Okay, next up, number 11 is going to be a Gen 3 Radeon Pro. So if you're looking for either of these, because I mean, I know that like Radeons are very popular, and you can find used ones everywhere, but like these are like essentially new in box. I'm gonna call them used just for the sake of funsies, but they are they haven't been opened. Okay, yeah, JT, come for corals, leave with nipple stories. So trivia question, or just bit of trivia. Mark Wahlberg, Marky Mark, he also has 3 nipples. Yeah, bet you guys didn't know that. All right, next up, number 12. We have some Fauna Marin. So, Fauna Marin LPS pellets are a little bit difficult to find for some reason. And I talked to Claude a little bit. Claude Schumacher is like, I guess he's like either the president or owner of Fauna Marin, German guy. And sometimes they get caught up in like FDA issues to get imported to the States. And so like the availability of Fauna Marin kind of like goes up and down. So occasionally you'll see like stores have it, and then like it dries up for like 6 months because they can't import anymore. So yeah, like so yeah, and so like if you are looking for this, these are at a slight discount. I think that they usually go for about $60. So we got 30 of these available, and this is like the large size container. There's like the 100 millimeter size, or milliliter size, and then this is the 250. So this is the much larger one. It'll probably, for like a regular tank, it's probably like a year's supply. Okay, number 13 we will get to in a moment. So, have you guys gone on any vacations? Hopefully you have, because it's getting like yesterday it snowed here, and I'm starting to like snow a lot more than I ever used to, but still, I just got back from Hawaii, and that's just a very different thing to have to deal with. All right, number 13, we've got some reefroids. And so if you're unfamiliar with reefroids, it's kind of like a powdered plankton food. So this would be something that's pretty good for like some filter feeders, things of that sort. So if you ever wanted to experiment with that, these are a little bit less than what we used to charge. Yeah, snow's great. Like for I don't do any like recreational stuff with snow, but Robbie, who's usually like my cameraman, he's right now in Colorado doing some snowboarding. So, yeah. And Miss Saltwater Tank, if you guys wanted to get even more jealous about me talking about Hawaii and stuff, she's gonna be going to Australia for like months, I think. So, it come like January, so I'm gonna be like super jelly about that. Okay. Number 14. we have a 3 test kit set. It's basically the stuff that everybody really tests for. It's going to be what, magnesium, calcium, and alkalinity. So like the holy trinity of what you call it, of like calcium testing essentially. All the important stuff for the stony corals. So selling the entire set here for 50. So if you needed to get like up on your testing, here's your chance. So Dave Davis, major crack there. I don't know. What are you talking about? I missed out on some joke. 5 weeks? Oh, 5 weeks in Australia? Oh, I got 1 week in Hawaii. You get 5 weeks in Australia? Oh my gosh. I'd be diving every day. I won't even lie. All right, next up. 15, which I think is going to involve a little bit of a move. So anyway, we'll get to it in a sec. So what other things are going on? Let me like pull up my little list of stuff to talk about. We got to see this like the northern coast of Kauai, called the Napali coast, which is like completely ridiculously beautiful. Like when you see pictures of it, it's almost one of those places where like you can't even believe it's real. And then when you're there in person, you still can't believe it's real and that it's in front of you. So it's, if you do like a Google search, like do a Google image search for Napali, Napali coast, it's like the most amazing like mountain rock formations that come right up to the water, and you're only able to see it from a boat or from like a helicopter. And there are some like hiking trails and stuff like that, but it's not really that accessible. Like you could legit die. But what's really wild about it is that like as you go like later into the winter, the waves get super big there. And by super big, I mean it gets to like 50 or 60 foot swells. And so when these boats go out there, the way that they describe it, they can't get very close to the cliffs, obviously, but the way that they describe it is on your left, a huge wall of water that's the size of like a 6-story building starts to form. And it looks like you're going to get hit by this giant building of a wave that looks like a mile long. And the boat just goes right over this wave. And you see this wave like crash into that giant like canyon looking thing, like the cliff walls, and just explodes. And like I guess like the sound of it, because you have this like mile long 60-foot wave. It's like super impressive. So I didn't get to see that, but we got some pretty big waves up there. And it is literally awesome. Like I saw this little opening where like you get this this valley between these two giant like mountainsides, and like the sun is shining right through that little canyon into right onto the beach. It's like this ridiculous like postcard picture, and you can actually see a picture on my Instagram of it. And I'm like mind blown. And it turns out that's like the most sacred spot in all of Hawaii, because like the Hawaiian royalty is buried there and stuff, and you're not even allowed to like bring your boat to shore. And I guess in one of those little coves, they were filming like a scene for Pirates of the Caribbean. Let's go one more coral. Where they're filming Pirates of the Caribbean, and Johnny Depp was like they stopped the boat and they're like, "Yep, jump out." And Johnny Depp was like, "I'm not jumping out. Like you can't like take me to the shore." And they're like, "Nope, we're not gonna like take this boat onto shore." So they literally had to airlift Johnny Depp in by helicopter, and they dropped him on the beach because he wouldn't get in the water. So what I think is that maybe it's because it takes like 4 hours to do makeup or something, and he didn't want to get in the water for that reason. I'm gonna chalk it up to that rather than just him being a wuss. But yeah, he had to get airlifted onto the beach. Okay, number 17. How long have I been streaming? Queebly? About a half hour. Yeah. So yeah, sorry guys. Like, there's like some YouTube craziness, like right when I was supposed to start streaming, and I just basically rebuild the stream. And so yeah, this event is like, kind of like, backup party location. So hopefully you guys have found it. There's about a little under 70 people watching right now, so it looks like most of you guys have found it. So that's good. I'm glad that worked out. Okay. Next up, number 18 is the tricolor oleophilia. So these are like all the maze brain corals if you're not too familiar. Yeah. Also, when I was diving, because I see like some stuff like about stonefish. There's stonefish and stuff like that in Hawaii, and one of the cool fish that I saw though was like it was one of those anglers, but what's it called? Shoot, now I'm like blanking. Some early onset Alzheimer's stuff here, but it was basically like the size like of a football. It's like bright yellow. It was like a frogfish. That's right. It was a yellow frogfish. Saw a few of those. Okay, next up, number 19. It's a small teal maze brain. Oh, I made my every single time I go to Hawaii, and if I'm in like the Waikiki area, which I almost am, I went to see the aquarium, the Waikiki Aquarium, specifically to take video of their peppermint angel. So obviously, like I'm much more of a coral guy, but like a peppermint angel is very, very, very difficult to collect, and that's why you see almost none of them in the hobby. Is because like I'm talking here about like going down diving to like 100 feet and how that can be like life threatening. But peppermint angels are found like 400, 500 feet down. And so if you're doing like regular scuba diving, I don't even think you can go down more than like 200 feet on a regular tank. So they have to use like rebreathers and stuff. And even with that, I think they only have like a window of opportunity of about 5 minutes to catch a fish. So if you can imagine just diving down and within 5 minutes you have to get a fish, otherwise you're gonna die down there. That probably explains why you don't get a lot of peppermint angels in the hobby. So anyway, I go there specifically because it's a tiny aquarium. There's not a ton to see there. Let's move on to number 20. Um, so yeah, specifically see that fish. It's a tiny aquarium, not a ton to see, and the fish literally died 48 hours before I got there. Like they had like a holiday party. It was alive. Next day, it's dead. Day after that, I show up. Yeah. So I missed it by days. They had it for 4 years, and it dies like the week that I'm in Hawaii. You may have said already, but what was the best thing I saw? The woman in bikinis? Probably. By the way, okay, this is like a total non sequitur here, but surfers have by far like the hottest bodies ever, guys and girls. Like these people, you can tell, probably have never lifted a weight in their whole lives, and they have like bodybuilding looking bodies. And seriously, all they probably do is like work at some retail place, smoke tons of weed, and surf, and they come out looking like godly bodies. And I was just like, and part of just like me just looking around, I'm just thinking, you know what? Nobody in Ohio looks like these people. Nobody. It's like I've gotten to some alien beach world. So, hey, I need to like take up surfing and like move to a beach someplace because just for my own health. Number 21. As far as like what I've seen underwater, I liked the that airplane wreck a lot more than I thought I would, and I like the fact that I was kind of challenging myself with the 100 foot dive. One thing that's kind of weird about 100 foot dives is that that's pretty much when this nitrogen problem starts happening with your blood. So you kind of like it's like a nitrous oxide essentially starts to build up, and so it's like you're on laughing gas, and kind of unfortunately, I didn't feel anything, but I guess it's like you can actually get super duper high, like this euphoric high where you like start to laugh and stuff like that because of like all the nitrous in your blood. Unfortunately, I didn't feel it, but I guess it's like really dangerous because you can kind of like lose track of stuff that's you're supposed to do to save your own life, and you have to kind of like focus through that high. But I was kind of curious as to what that felt like. It didn't feel anything. Number 22. The pink cabbage leather. So somebody had mentioned earlier that they were just starting into the hobby and were looking for some soft corals. This is like a great little starter coral. Very hard to kill something like this, and it's large. How are we able to keep fish from that depth? You have to depressurize them slowly. Are you able to see the stream? Is it working?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's up, Elemental Gamer. I don't know why you can't see it. It looks okay on our end. And as far as I know, stream's not dead. But if somebody else can't see it, let me know. Yeah, nitrogen narcosis. And you also have to be extra careful about coming up. You have to do like safety stops to depressurize. And on top of that, I was getting on a plane within like 24 hours. And so that's also another thing. So, yeah, all those things are some real life concerns. Let's move to the next coral, number 23. Okay, so Dave Davis said yes, you can see it. Hopefully. Yes, good. Thank you, Dave. I don't know what kind of leather this is. I totally need to do some more homework on what leathers are what. Not really sure which this one is. All right, thanks, Vincent. Yeah, thanks for giving me the feedback. Like, if my stream dies, let me know, because like I do know how to fix that occasionally. What's not smart? Oh, wanting to feel it? Yeah, it's probably not smart. I'm gonna assume that you're talking about nitrogen narcosis, or is it flying? I think it might have been right around 24 hours. Yeah. Number 24. Green cabbage. You know what's also not smart? Drinking while on the job, but I'm about to. Could you grab the beer that's in the freezer? And I don't know if you have a can opener. Yeah, flying. Flying's like super dangerous. Like once you go diving.
Okay.
You got it. You got a can opener? Okay. About to get turned. Let's go to item number 25. And I think cameraman might want some as well. All right. So I wasn't okay. So the person that put the whole costume idea on the table was actually Louise. She was like, "Are you gonna like wear a Santa hat?" I'm like, "I didn't think about that. Let's go look for one." Couldn't find a Santa hat. Couldn't find like reindeer antlers, but I found Christmas ale. So I think I might have mentioned it before, but we have this brewery in town called Hop and Frog. It's like an Akron brew, and I'm like big on their beers in general. There's a Cleveland beer called Great Lakes Brewing Company, and they are famous for their Christmas ale, like super duper duper famous. And like people camp out and stuff for their beer, the Great Lakes one. It's like a big deal around town. And Christmas ale is by far their most famous thing. This beer kicks that Christmas ale's butt so bad. This stuff is like a million times better. Whenever we have like a Christmas ale throwdown, this is always the champ. Vincent Taylor, why is flying dangerous after diving? It's the same sort of reason why you want to come up very, very slowly. It's the nitrogen coming out of your bloodstream. So when you depressurize, it's called like, I think it's actually called depressurization sickness, or the bends. Your blood is literally foaming because of the nitrogen bubbling. And yeah, so it literally kind of like shuts you down, and it's extremely painful. So you can get this depressurization sickness coming from like 100 feet too fast to the surface. But you can also get that depressurization sickness by then hopping up into a plane, and the change in pressure there without letting all the nitrogen like escape slowly could be a problem. Let's see. When are you opening a Tidal Gardens in Australia? Hey, you know what? You don't need one. Go diving. You are home to like some of the best reefs in the world. I live in Ohio. That's why I have a greenhouse full of coral. All right, what number are we on?
26.
All right, let's go to 26. smaller Galaxia. By the way, I'm not talking a ton about corals, so if you guys have some questions about corals, by all means let me know. I'm obviously talking a lot about vacation stuff. Um, Galaxia, it's a good little LPS to start with. You just have to watch out for the kind of the stinginess, because they do have like this little sweeper tentacles that you see there. Michael, you want some beer?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll just set it right on the corner here for you.
Okay.
Oh, your skin can look like bubble wrap? I had no idea. Yeah, I've never experienced the bends, thankfully. Partly because I'm not an idiot, completely. I do want to survive. There we go. Kyle, want some?
No, I'm good.
Okay, because it's darker beer. I know you don't like it.
Yeah.
All right.
Closer to water, the better.
He said closer to water, the better. Okay. Great Lakes Christmas ale is so good. JT, I know you're from like that Cleveland area. I'm telling you. This is the stuff. And any of that fraud beer from Cleveland. All right, number 26. Let's move on. Wait. Are we at 27? 27.
27.
Okay.
27.
27. I agree. I don't like the light stuff. I like the dark stuff. I mean, this isn't really like super dark either. It's, it's ale, but I like stouts and stuff usually. Blue tongue coral. These guys have to go on your substrate, and I think that they actually might like a little bit of rockier substrate. We had kept this guy on like a very fine sand bed, and it actually started to recede. And then we ended up just putting it on like an egg crate shelf, which I thought would be like the doom of it. And it ended up fully recovering, and it looks great now. And obviously, like anytime you see like blue colored tongue corals and stuff like that, that tends to be a very uncommon color. Oogly doogly. Number 28. I got 8 corals from the last live sale, and everything looks great. Awesome. I'm like super like worried about see, whenever we get close to like the holiday season, I get worried because of like shipping delays. I'm gonna try really hard to get everything out on Monday, just in case if anything wacky happens. There's a couple days before like FedEx shuts down towards the end of the week. But I'll try to get everything out on Monday. That's what pretty ambitious is, because my friends and family are still in Hawaii right now. Not bitter, because I get to hang out with you guys, right? But I have to go pick them up from the airport Monday, so Monday's gonna be like super packed for me. All right. Moving on, we have a pink-tipped Aussie Elegance. So somebody was asking me on the phone the other day, like he was searching out an Indo Elegance, and I was like kind of like wondering like why does he want an Indo Elegance? Because Indo Elegances are the ones that just die, and they get some kind of like weird illness, and I don't think too many people are sure exactly why it happens, but it's a thing. So I haven't bought an Indo Elegance in like 15 years. I only buy Australians because the Indo ones are able to then make your Australian one sick. So, yes, so somebody was getting on my case about like the depressurization stuff being too crazy, about getting on a plane. And Bruce Hansen here is like, my dive instructor taught us how to drink beer underwater. Like, because that's not crazy. I can't even imagine how that would affect like the carbonation being under pressure and stuff. That'd be weird. Anyway, so I only sell Australian elegances because they tend to be like a lot more bulletproof. But anyway, he was also like curious about yellow-tipped ones, and so we will get to that shortly. Let's go to number 30. This is the second pink tip elegance, but we might as well go to 31 because 31 is that yellow tip. Now I'm calling this a yellow tip. Just kind of you can scoot it over just slightly for the yellow tip guy here. It's more of like a lime green. it's always like a weird thing to call something yellow in this hobby because oftentimes something that's yellow is just really a bright green. So you can see it here. To me, it looks a little bit more yellow than green. But if you were to call it green, I'm not gonna argue with you too much about it. Like a typical, like a true, like, highlighter yellow tipped elegance. Last one I had here, I probably sold it for about $650. So the yellow tipped elegance I have here at 135, it's a borderline one. Okay, let's go on to 32. This is the a smaller of the two pectinias we're about to sell. Always a very cool coral. Um, yeah, pectinias here are kind of like feast or famine. Either we have like some really cool ones in, or we don't have any for months. And it's because a lot of them come in kind of boring shades of brown that I'm not really into, so I just don't buy them just for the sake of having them. So what I end up doing is only just waiting out for like a really nice one. And so this is like a tricolor one that I like a lot. What's up? Oh, okay. 33. It's the larger of the two pectinias. You could lighten it up slightly as well, Michael. I'm going to be in Ohio sometime after Christmas. If I buy some from the stream, can you hold them until I can stop by and pick them up? Yes, we can. Yep, just select local pickup / live sale for everything. And we will get in touch about the shipping, or the lack of shipping. It's just when you can come pick up. So believe it or not, this is about as festive as I'm going to get. Like, I don't really celebrate many holidays. And actually, I was thinking, like, what holiday would I be most festive of? And it's Halloween. And you saw me as festive as I've ever been for Halloween, just wearing a squid hat and drinking like a beer. That was about it. All right, next up, 34. I'm calling this like a combo pavona because it's got both the green and the purple. When we glued a couple of little chips of this stuff, I think the thinking was that it was all one, but it's actually two different ones. Next up, number 35. This actually is a green pavona, even though the base kind of looks purple. It's a lighting thing. I think that this one might have been grown in one of the darker systems, so it didn't get as much light. And as it gets into brighter light, it goes completely green. I'm trying to think of what else is cool about Hawaii. There must have been something else cool. The seafood is really good. That's something that, like, I try to avoid, like the plague here in Ohio, where we don't really get great seafood. Yeah, I get to have it there. 36, purple pavona. It died. Sorry, like this moving the slider back and forth. What glue do you use? I'm looking to grab some. We just use like the regular, like 67-cent dollar store type gel super glue, but we would actually save money if we went with like the larger containers of super glue from like Ecotech, because if you actually to do it by weight, it's a lot less expensive than the dollar store stuff, believe it or not. The only problem is you kind of have to use the glue before the container itself gets all gummed up, and then it's kind of wasted whatever was in the tube. But we go through so much propagation that we could legitimately use one of those glue containers fairly quickly. So I don't know why we don't use one of the big things, but we don't. We use the cheap stuff, or the cheap, like, little dollar container sized, and then we blow through like 10 of those a day or something. But we really should just get like the one single big one. Okay, let's go on to number 37. What was the best meal that I had? It's probably a tie between Roy's, like Roy Yamaguchi. He's one of the celebrity chef types that you might see on some cooking shows and stuff like cooking competition type stuff. So we went to his restaurant in Kauai. I've been to both of his in Honolulu as well, but we went to the one in Kauai. It was pretty good. We also did this really quirky Japanese restaurant, which is like super duper authentic, like Japan authentic, and that was very nice. Um, what did I have there? I forget. I think it's like butterfish or something. And we actually went to a farmers market in Kauai, and that was like really cool too, because they have like this really fresh ahi poke, and it was like super cheap, and I just kept on like snacking on that pretty much the entire time I was at this little farmers market. Yeah, so Aaron, don't worry about 37 going black. Whenever the thing goes black and I'm still moving, it's because we've capped the camera lens and we're moving the entire thing around. I might have to check focus on that one. There we go. 38. I forgot to put this guy right side up. The free care Pavona. Do you think that we can reach in there and grab it? This is like one of my favorite Pavonas. He's gonna shrink, obviously, but they're kind of like maroon colored, and then they have like the bright neon green tentacles. Yeah, you don't have to worry about like the screen going black. It'll go black numerous times during the broadcast. It's just so that people don't get all seasick from the camera moving around. Okay. Moving along, let's look at number 39, which is the Blue Symposium. Yeah, we're capping again. That right there that you're seeing is not a problem. Any Leptoceras today? SC4226. Yes, there's going to be a lot. So stay tuned for that. If you're looking for Leptoceras, this is a good day for that. It's going to be maybe 40-ish corals away. I'm not really sure, but we do have some. Do you like a plug station reef deck in a reef tank?
I thought those are around 100.
Okay, so item number 100, so like 60 away, it turns out. To plug station reef deck. Okay, so I'm not 100% familiar with that product, but in general, I don't like just aesthetically seeing that type of thing in a show tank. I would rather like have that in an actual frag tank. Sympodium's some cool stuff. It tends to be a little bit difficult to get healthy because it doesn't. It's not the best shipper in the world, but once you do have it and it gets growing, it's like some cool like blues and greens. All right, number 40. Some pulsing xenia. If you kind of compare this xenia to xenia that we've had in like past live sales, you'll probably notice that like the past live sale stuff is pulsing and this stuff is not. Xenia is one of the few corals that I think does better in the summertime here. Like everything else does better in the winter. But for whatever reason, come wintertime, these guys stop pulsing. So I wonder if it's like a sunlight thing or a heat thing. I think it might be more lighting than heat, but yeah, there's definitely a pretty big difference in how these guys behave because there's like no pulsing behavior going on right now at all. Whereas like in the summertime, like the pulsing is just like completely mesmerizing. All right, number 41. It's a Kenya tree, beginner coral. It'll grow like crazy if you're into that sort of thing. Yeah, these guys like drop little babies, and the babies grow into new Kenya trees. So we have a tank just like kind of full of this stuff. Will, any scolies today? Unfortunately, no scolies. We're like super low on scolars. I think we only have like 3 or 4 in this whole place. All right, number 42. Let's take a look at some green star polyps. These are the balloon variety versus like the wispy kind. We only have this one kind up for sale today. And also, Kyle is like throwing in like some item numbers. If you guys are confident seeing stuff like or purchasing stuff sight unseen, that is on you. In the past, that was like a something that would happen where it's like some people like saw some really cheap stuff and they're like, you know what? I don't know what it is, but it's $5, so I'm just gonna buy it just in case I want it. 43. It's a UFO Micromusa. These guys change color a lot. We can actually move on to 44 and actually have just both in the frame, maybe perhaps. And you can kind of see the difference between 43 and 44. I think those are actually the same coral. They were just like kind of grown in different tanks. What are your favorite coral? What your favorite coral? X Fox. I don't think I have one. I don't think I have one at all. At one time it was probably elegance. At another time it was probably blastomusa. Lately I've had an appreciation for certain types of mushrooms, not bounce mushrooms. So bounce mushrooms are like the most expensive mushrooms, but they're not my favorite by a long shot. Some of the crazy discosomas I like a lot more. Rico's Reef, what number are you going up to? I think we're going to go to 160. I think I might have said 150 earlier. I think we're actually at 160 for this particular auction. And it's not an auction, it's a live sale. Nothing's auctioned. Number 45. This is a Rainbow Acan Lord. Thanks for pointing out beginner corals. No problem. Oh, so we've been under T5 lighting for a while now. I kind of made a screw up. So I had purchased these lighting fixtures because they were super cheap, and I didn't realize that they were like the regular output T5 fluorescent fixtures, and I've been running them with the high output T5 bulbs, and so these fixtures are slowly dying on me left and right because I'm just like taxing the ballasts on them. So I have like 8 regular T5 fixtures. So let me know in chat if you're interested in purchasing those, because I can probably sell them to you really cheap because I need to refit all of my systems with T5s that have this particular type of lighting fixture with the high output variety. So if you're looking to like grow like some low light corals, so actually like acans that you're seeing here would be a perfect candidate for like the low light fluorescence. That sort of thing would work out great, but they're like the total wrong wattage bulbs in these fixtures right now. What does UFO mean? Unidentified flying object. 46. This is an orange Acan echinata. So UFO, it's kind of funny like what that typically means, right? So I listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson a lot, who's an astrophysicist here in America, and he's very articulate, and he's great to listen to about science matters. But it's always funny because people always asking about, do aliens exist and do UFOs exist? He's like, of course UFOs exist. UFOs stand for unidentified flying object. So if you see something in the sky and you don't know what it is, that is an unidentified flying object. The thing that makes people kind of like fall off the ledge is that because I don't know what that is in the sky that I'm seeing, this unidentified flying object, it therefore must be an alien spacecraft that had traveled across the galaxy and is now in our atmosphere on Earth. So you immediately go from like, I don't know what that is, to it must be space aliens. It must be. And so so oftentimes like people assume that like UFO is like some alien spacecraft. So yeah. Anyway, I digress. Oh, how was Star Wars? Oh God, don't even get me going on Star Wars. Okay, number 47. If you want to see Star Wars with no spoilers, get off the internet. Get to the theater because people are spoiling that left and right. I happen to really like Star Wars, so I saw the 9 a.m. show yesterday, and I turned into like a total recluse. The few days leading up to it, like I don't want to hear anything about this movie because like people are putting in spoilers in like random comment sections and on like sports articles and stuff, like spoiling the movie left and right. So there are some, big events that happen in Star Wars: The Force Awakens. So get off the internet if you don't want that stuff spoiled. It's a really good movie, and you don't want it spoiled. You want it to be as unspoiled as possible heading into the theater. Right, number 48, the larger of the two green pinwheel Akan lords. So yeah, like as soon as I woke up in the morning on like a cup, I guess when did I see that? Basically opening day, like yesterday. Saw it yesterday. My time is weird, man. Let me tell you. Yes, I watched it at 9 a.m. and I was like one of maybe like 15 people in the movie theater, and so it was great. Like nobody was cheering or being like total jerks or anything like that. Oh, why would people spoil on purpose? Because people are jerks. Like I don't know if you noticed this or not, but like some people really get off on like making other people miserable. Yeah, like spoilers abound for this movie. But even if you haven't, even if you know the spoilers, okay, watch the movie anyway because there's so many really clever things that they do that are like genuinely funny. Like for example, I'm not gonna spoil it. I promise. But like I hate the C3PO character, right? I think it's super annoying, and like the prequels, episodes 1, 2, and 3, made him completely unbearable with his like one-liner nonsense. But in this movie, he shows up for like 2 minutes and is absolutely funny. Like I was laughing out loud when he shows up, which is like crazy because I don't even like C3PO. So anyway, go watch the movie. J.J. Abrams did a good job. It's not a perfect movie, but oh my gosh, it's like a million trillion billion times better than the prequels. So if the prequels left a sour taste in your mouth, don't worry. Force Awakens delivers, as I might have said on Twitter. All right, number 49. And I would, by the way, I would have gone to the 12:30 a.m. showing, but there wasn't one, and I ended up watching it in 3D, which I would not have chosen to do, just because it was the earliest showing. All right. So I think this is the last of the Acans potentially. Yeah. So a lot of rainbows this time around. I didn't think that I had posted quite so many. GT Viddy, what is your favorite fish? I've honestly never thought about that. I have to get back to you on that. Grilled. Okay, number 51 is no, 50. Sorry, 50. Getting ahead of myself. This is a red and purple Blastawasi. What is my favorite fish? Guaranteed it's not a clownfish. I hate clownfish. Um, I don't like my harlequin tusk right now because a what? Oh yeah, I'll go with flashing tilefish. If you don't know what a flashing tilefish is, get onto YouTube for like 5 seconds and kind of come right back. but it's worth it. It's like a schooling type of fish that kind of is anthias like. Lower light anthias. Well, I guess all anthias are pretty low light, but it's a very low light fish, and they can change color like instantaneously. So it can it's like a rainbow, that just constantly flashes different colors. And you can keep them in like groups of 12 to like 15 ish, and it's just like this amazing display. Geraldine Lancaster, gotta be a shark. I do love sharks. I do love sharks. 51. Speaking of low light, all these Blastos, key to success, lower light. Like, sharks are really, really cool. Cool animals in general. They're like super chill, and yeah, I think like going back to my surfer, my surfer wish of becoming like a great pro surfer here. Um, the only way to really get attacked by a shark is to look like a seal, and that's how you do it, by getting on a surfboard and paddling out and just hanging out, waiting for a wave. That's how you get attacked by a shark. But like short of that, like there's really nothing to fear when it comes to sharks. They get such a bad rap. All right, 52. We've got a red and green Merletti. So you can see the size difference in the Merletti versus the Welsey. Crowell Cardinal, why don't you like the tusk? I don't like him because right now I need to put a lot of snails in that tank to take care of an algae problem, and then he will eat all the snails. Long story short, he kind of limits you on what you can keep. Like, it's a very cool fish, but you know, sometimes you need a cleaner wrasse or a cleaner shrimp. Sometimes you need like some snails. Can't have any of those with a Harlequin tusk. And by the way, was it you that was emailing me? Somebody had. Oh god, that's a mistake. I just checked my email and all of a sudden I get like, you know, like a whole bunch of notifications here. That was a mistake. Sorry, I'm just checking my email real fast. There is a reason. Because somebody is in chat that I think had emailed me about, like, something. And I just wanted to say, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just been kind of busy. So I will get to you. Okay, number 53. Let's move on. In a sec. We'll get there. The black screen, not a bug. Whew. I'm already feeling this drank. But like I said, if you're into Christmas ale, find Hop and Frog. It is a moral imperative that you try this Christmas ale and compare it to your favorite. They make the barrel aged stuff too, but I'm not into barrel aged. I think it's like a bad gimmick. Yeah, we're on 53. So this is a red Blaster Merletti. The previous one had green centers. This one has like a solid red form. Someone told me blue leg hermits will eat trachea brains. That's entirely possible. Blue leg hermits eat a little bit of everything. That's why I don't like hermit crabs. I have like a handful of hermit crabs, and a lot of them are by accident. Not a fan. I saw one the other day trying to eat a snail. Don't need that. Okay, let's go to 54. There we go. Tricolor Blasto Welsey. So I suppose it doesn't help that both me, the host, and the camera guy are drinking beer. So like I think like as we go, there might be like more and more of a disconnect of what's on the screen versus what I'm talking about. But then again, I haven't really been talking about coral, have I? I've been talking about Star Wars. I've been talking about beer. I've been talking about diving. If you're drinking, you should have gotten some festive antlers to wear. So I don't know if you missed that part of the story, but I was actually going out to get antlers. Couldn't find antlers, so I found beer. Tim, Great Lakes Christmas Ale was more like Hop and Frog years ago. It's much more sweet today than it was. Yeah, really? You think? I know that like Thirsty Dog has well it has like the original like OG version of Christmas Ale. Like I guess that guy used to work at Great Lakes and formulated oh yeah, I was talking about nipples too. On dudes. Specifically extra nipples on dudes. Yeah, I heard that like the guy that formulated Great Lakes Christmas Ale moved to Thirsty Dog Brewery in Akron, and like the Thirsty Dog 12 Dogs of Christmas is actually OG Great Lakes Christmas Ale. But I have not heard the connection to Hop and Frog. Number 55. Let's move on. Actually, a reef hobbyist here. Who's a good buddy of mine who does like a lot of HVAC work and stuff like that. His name's I'm gonna leave his name anonymous, but he's actually very good friends with the Hop and Frog people, and supposedly he had a lot to do with helping formulate this Hop and Frog beer that I like so much. So a Tidal Gardens customer is responsible for the formulation of this beer. I'm gonna call it. And by the way, I'm just gonna like say this right now. Somebody really should buy this Blood Red Blasto Wellesley. It's awesome. Yeah, the squid, the squid hat. It's not a Santa hat. It's like a well, yeah. I couldn't find the squid Santa hat, and doubling up on the pirate hat wouldn't quite make any sense. As if squid pirate hats ever make sense, but they do. All right, 56. All right, Laxman 2K. So I got a BioCube 29. Do you recommend getting my own RODI filter now, or get my tank set up and buy my LFS's RODI water until I get my own filter? You may as well get it now. Reason being, it's one of those things that's probably gonna like last you forever. So just get it out of the way. I guess it also depends on how much your local fish store charges for RODI. Like we are like super duper duper cheap. Like basically, if you come here and buy a coral, we'll give you all the water you want for free. Just have to get some containers. All right, 57. It's that green guy, Event Horizon Fabia, and a snail. Mac, is that beer kicking in? Yeah. I'm a super lightweight. And this, by the way, has like, oh, it's only 8.6% alcohol. It's not bad, not bad. I was thinking it'd be closer to 9, but, well, wait. 8.6 is really close to 9. That's how you know the beer's kicking in. Can't do the maths. All right, 59. Out of curiosity, how many of you guys have seen Force Awakens so far? So just like hit me up in chat. And don't spoil it. So I'm just gonna throw this out there right now. Kyle, if anybody posts a spoiler, ban that person. we haven't banned enough people yet.
I haven't banned one person.
Nobody's been banned yet. That's amazing. We're 50 something into this live sale and nobody's been banned. Can I be rude and living in the past, but may I ask my question again? Dave Davis. I must have missed the first question. Yeah. Go ahead and ask it again. You're not rude. Rico's Reef. I need a beer right now. Go get one. 60. Scarlet and Gray Favites. Wait, did we just not do? Yeah, so let's do 59 real fast.
Okay.
59. We're so good at this stuff. Hey, don't worry about it. We're professionals. Oh, by the way, but the fact that I got this stream working on a secondary link pretty much on time is like, seriously, I'm the man for that. That was like freak out worthy. Like lesser men would have freaked out and like just curled up into a little ball and cried themselves asleep with no live sale. I figured that stuff out like that, and then I started drinking, and now I don't know what I'm doing.
See his question.
No, what was it?
Brain cores differ greatly in growth rate from species to species.
Brain corals, like as the big category, like Favia, pretty slowly. Favites, pretty quickly. Like tracheophilias and stuff like that, you're not gonna notice like a lot of growth. They're gonna the flesh is gonna swell and stuff like that, but the skeleton itself is probably not gonna grow a ton. So it kind of depends on the species. All right, let's go to 60. And yeah, SC 4226, Daisy Ridley. Good lord, nobody knew who that actress was. She is like, she's gonna be a mega star. Like the performance that she does in Star Wars Episode 7, I would consider on par with Charlize Theron's performance in Mad Max Fury Road. Like that's how good she is. Yeah, she's really good. I'm not gonna say she carried that movie because legitimately Oscar Isaac is awesome as Poe Dameron. Boyega is like really good as Finn. Harrison Ford is like amazing. He's absolutely Han Solo. Whereas like if you watch like the last Indiana Jones, that dude wasn't Indiana Jones, and that whole movie wasn't Indiana Jones. But he is absolutely old dude Han Solo in this movie. So you got like great acting performances across the board, and amongst all those really good acting performances, Daisy Ridley is a total standout. She's amazing. 61, White-Eyed Favia. Actually, Zen 64 Old Fury Road, where Mad Max has 3 words consisting of grunts, I'm okay with lack of dialogue. I think that movies really struggle when they have too much dialogue and they rely too much on exposition through dialogue. I liked it a lot better when like people could just seriously act without even saying anything. Like some of the best movies I can think of have the most powerful scenes with no dialogue at all, and it's just people acting.
Star Wars prequels would have been better.
Yeah, seriously, Star Wars prequels, nobody needed to say a darn thing in those. Like, seriously, if Star Wars the prequels were silent movies, they would be better. You know I'm right. Because I could quote you some ridiculous stuff that George Lucas wrote. Let's move on to the next quarrel. Come on now. Like, Episode 2, really, that love story that they try to, like, make a thing, like, that kind of writing, yeah, silent movie that. That would have been 10 times better. All right, next up. I'm gonna stay on this for just a little bit because I'm about to go on a rant. So first of all, I love this anti-venom Favites. Okay, I got this from Nathan. Love this thing. This thing's cool as hell. Okay, so Tidal Gardens Incorporated just wrote, "I didn't like Mad Max." Kyle. So everybody that works here is like a movie buff. Like we are like movie critics, okay? We talk about movies all the time. We also talk about UFC and video games occasionally. But mainly we talk about movies. And we're not messing around. So when I hired Kyle and Kyle said he didn't like Mad Max, I was genuinely worried, like, you know what? I don't think this is going to work out. I'll be perfectly honest, like Mad Max is like my choice for like, it's going to win the best picture for Oscar. Like it's going to do it, right? I thought it was an absolute masterpiece. I've seen the black and white version with no dialogue, and I thought that was a masterpiece. So when I'm like, have I made a mistake here? So I said, well, what movies do you like? And then it got better. He's like, I like The Departed. I'm like, okay. He likes The Departed. At least like he didn't say like, dude, I absolutely loved Transformers Dark of the Moon. That's my favorite movie of all time. I would have been like, you're fired. Like, get out right now. So luckily it wasn't that. He likes Scorsese movies and stuff like that. He's just wrong about Mad Max. And we're in a forgiving mood. So, just to throw that out there. You can't work here if you don't have like your A game with movies. Like you need to actually go see I don't know. Well, go see Force Awakens and wash it down with a little bit of a Lawrence of Arabia. All right, next up, 64. Hopefully you like 64. 64 is sweet. 65 is... Oh no, 63 was sweet. And so 64. Just a nice Scarlet Phovites. Larger piece. See you, Louise. Thanks for joining. All right, let's go to 65. Got a little Indonesian hammer here. Oh, you know, we haven't talked about UFC much. That was a thing. What do you guys... So, I don't know. I think we have a few fight fans here. Tell me what you thought about McGregor Aldo. Tell me what you thought about Rockhold Weidman. And if you happen to catch Rose Namajunas beating the crap out of Paige Van Zant, let me know what you think about that. All right. And I don't know who's fighting tomorrow. Who's fighting tomorrow?
It's tonight, actually.
Who's fighting tonight?
It is Alistair Overeem and our brain part, Junior Dos Santos.
Okay, so it's Alisteroid Overeem.
Cowboy Cerrone and Dos Anjos. Yes.
Cowboy Cerrone and Dos Anjos. Okay.
Decent. Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go move on to 66. This is a yellow Indonesian hammer. It looks a little bit like a little bit overly purple for whatever reason. We're getting a lot of LED leakage into this shot. Trust me, yellow polyps, purple base. Our hammers relatively fast growers. The Indonesian ones are. The Australian ones are not. Okay, Connor predicted that fight dead on. Connor can predict all he wants. If you do that fight 1,000 more times, he does not have a 17-second knockout. Like, I know a lot of people are like really, really kind of hating on Jose Aldo and how he doesn't deserve another rematch like right away. This guy wasn't beaten in 10 years and got lucked into a knockout. Oh, good. So my mom and my vacation buddy Daniela are texting me images of like, guess where we are right now in Hawaii. Thanks, guys. Wait, those are my people right there. So it looks like they're in Hanauma Bay. Yeah, it looks like they're in Hanauma Bay. Man, it's a good thing I have you guys to keep me company. Otherwise, I would feel really, really bad about myself drinking alone. So, thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. There'll be a rematch, I'm sure. There should be a rematch. I mean, be out there. Okay, let's go to 67, which you have done already. This is an Australian hammer. They tend to be a little bit slower growing. I thought the fight of the night was actually Rockhold Weidman. I've heard a lot of things about Weidman, and I have a newfound respect for like what his capabilities were. And then I saw a lot of highlights of Rockhold, and I was like, man, like I'm like genuinely excited about that fight. And that fight delivered in every way that the McGregor Aldo fight didn't. So I'm glad I definitely caught that. And yeah, Frankie Edgar, I hear, might get the fight instead of Aldo, which I think is a little bit of a travesty. And I think that would be a good fight too. Like McGregor, Frankie Edgar might be a good fight, but that's kind of like totally disrespectful of Aldo and what he's done. That's just my take on it. What about Ronda Rousey getting knocked out? Yeah, that happened. Yeah, I was totally stunned by that. Let's go to 68, the neon green. Okay, so this one says Indo Hammer. That is incorrect. So let me go ahead and change that right now. Boom. It's now an Aussie Hammer. Yeah, Ronda Rousey got beat in stand up so hardcore. That was like, that was such a great technical stand up. Loved it. I'm actually a little bit of a Ronda fan, but I'm glad that she got absolutely crushed at the same time. She's mouthing off a little bit too much, kind of believing her own hype a little bit too much, and it just shows you like what an elite striker can do. Yes, and absolutely, Aldo looks like he's off the juice. Yes, I understand that all of Brazil is on the juice. That makes a difference. And I know that I have some Brazilian fans out there. Yeah, I know. Like, I'm not hating on you because like a lot of the UFC is from Brazil, and there's another dude that works here. His name's Sean. He works here like part time, and he's like a personal trainer that does BJJ. And in his opinion, everybody should be roided to the gills if you're gonna be collecting a professional salary doing this stuff. I kind of disagree with that, but he is like adamant that he wants the freak show. He wants Pride FC back, you know. And I'll tell you what, Pride was kind of entertaining. I kind of like Pride a lot. Yeah, it's like some superhero stuff fighting each other. Okay, number 70. Oh wait, 69. I was ahead of myself again. Such a technician. Do you know why Aussie torches are so expensive? Well, part of the reason is it actually costs a lot to collect them. Collectors in Australia sometimes make up to six figures, like the people going into the water after these things. It's not like somebody in Indonesia where you're getting like some kind of weird multiple on the cost of labor. You're paying Australians to go collect stuff. You're going really far in some cases on these boats, like 16 hours, and you have to like stay out there a week. And sometimes there's storms and stuff that prevent you from collecting. Sometimes like the saltwater crocodile kills somebody. That happens. So that's part of the reason why it's expensive. So by the time it gets to the wholesale level, some of these things are like literally they look like retail prices. Like if you saw a wholesale price list, you'd be like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? Like I can't work with that cost structure. And that's sometimes just the cost of Australian corals. It's kind of wacky that way. The bigger concern that I have, like I don't even think it's so much of a bad thing that they're kind of expensive. It's that they're also really fragile. Sometimes I'm very, very gun shy to purchase Australian hammers, torches, frog spawn, that sort of thing, because they just die after a week, and I'm like, it's expensive and they die. Ronda was concentrating too much in acting and not fighting, not to mention her "I'm the baddest" attitude. That's true. That's true. All right, moving on. Number 70. McGregor versus Nick Diaz. I would enjoy Nick Diaz. Like, I get why people might not like Nick Diaz. He's a little rough around the edges, but he is also an elite striker, and I would like to see an elite striker like Nick Diaz fight Conor McGregor. And hopefully Nick Diaz isn't still banned for that pot suspension. Ridiculous. Right, let's hit 71. Teal candy cane. Yeah, saltwater crocodiles are nuts. I wouldn't want to, like, give me sharks 10 times out of 10 over a crocodile. Like, that is some underwater dinosaur that really actually wants to kill you. Sharks don't care about you. You have to try to fit yourself into a shark's mouth in order to have a problem with the shark. Saltwater crocodiles kill like thousands of people a year. Okay, I think we're done with this entire side. So, we are gonna transition from 71 to 72. I'm gonna throw up the rules in case people that are new to this whole live sale, how it works. Why is this guy drinking and talking about UFC? I understand not everybody's hip to this whole scene, and I'm gonna go take a bathroom break. So I'll be right back. So he might need some help with that.
The very last ones are damn Zoas.
I'm back. Okay, Ronda Rousey versus Miss Saltwater. My money's on Miss Saltwater. No, I think Ronda Rousey would effing kill Louise. Sorry, Louise, I love you, but I don't like your chances.
Watched by Rico's Reef.
Will calcium at 500 parts per million cause hammers to not open? I don't know, but pay attention also to your salinity. We were getting calcium at like 600 parts per million. It's because our salinity was just high. Like it was like 1.030 specific gravity. So yeah, pay special attention to that. Get your specific gravity to about 1.025 or even 24, and retest your calcium. Would that cause hammers to not open? Maybe, maybe not. But again, salinity could be a thing. I used to have a big colony of candy cane corn. All of a sudden, just died. Don't know why. Could be bacterial. Sometimes large polyp stonings of that variety tend to get a quick infection of brown slime. Google brown slime algae and see what you find there. If that looks like what happened to yours, like it'll like vanish in like about a day or two. Sometimes like an antibiotic dip will help. Why is the teal candy cane extended but the neon green candy cane hugging the skeleton? Well, when we put some corals into these tanks, occasionally we have a fox face that just likes to nibble on them. So he might have just bit the coral a little bit. Happens. $1.024 right now. Okay, yeah, 1.024 with 500 calcium is too high. Also, I don't know if somebody's already picked up my set of 3 test kits, but check your alkalinity and magnesium to see if there's some wonky numbers there, because that will affect your calcium figures. Will ultra low nutrient systems mess with hammers and frog spawn? Yes. Yes. If you're going to be messing with ultra low nutrient, that's usually to benefit stuff like Acropora and a lot of the SPS type stony corals. The large polyp stonies are probably going to struggle a little bit with ultra low nutrient. It's not really their thing. What number are we on, Michael? 70, 71. No, we're on 72 now. Yeah, that's the pink Stylophora. Okay. So what you're looking at is a pink Stylophora. We're going to be doing like a section of SPS now. So again, ultra low nutrient system. You're going to get some weird results with a lot of these SPS. Like coloration changes and stuff like that. That's kind of what I think attracts people to that type of filtration, or at least chemistry maintenance method. All right, let's move on. 73. It just occurred to me that we've been online now for about like an hour and 30 minutes. Should be fun. So this is the neon green stylo. $75, $74. My acans and brains love it. Like ultra low nutrient acans. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that. No, that's weird. Okay, number 75. We have a nice chunk of red dragon acro. So what kind of one of the more in-demand acropora out there? Number 76. It's a pink Passalipora. So lately I've been advocating a type of maintenance here, like, because one of the things that I totally subscribe to is very frequent water changes. Like water changes really fix a lot of problems. And whenever people come to me having problems with a certain tank issue, my first question is always water change related, and no matter what, it's going to involve doing additional water changes. And usually that solves most of the problems. So in Nathan's system, he actually has like a continuous water change thing going on with like two different dosing pumps. And the more and more I think about it, I really like that kind of system. And even if you have like a small tank, especially if you have a small tank, it kind of makes sense because a dosing pump system is something you can use on larger aquariums for different applications. So there's almost like no downside to it. If you happen to upgrade later to a larger aquarium, you can use it to dose like calcium and alkalinity supplements, or continue to use it for larger water changes. So I've kind of been like recommending that more and more. And I would love to be able to set something like that up here. I just haven't figured out how to fit a couple 500-gallon tubs of newly made salt water in here. Okay, number 77. Rico's Reef hydrogen peroxide dip of 10 to 1 parts takes care of brown slime. I've not tried it for brown slime, but I'll have to try it next time. We've done hydrogen peroxide before. It's very rough on certain corals and not so rough on others. Okay. Number 78. This is a rainbow Passalipora. The base is actually white, and then it's got purple and green going on with the polyps. So Michael, how did you like the beer? Are you a fan?
Very good.
Very good, he says.
Yes. Really good.
Last year's formulation of Christmas Ale, I didn't like as much, but this year is definitely a lot better. $79. When you say brown slime, do you mean dinos? No, Tim. Brown slime is a disease specific to some large polyp stonies. where it's like a rapid die off. Like diatoms, it's kind of like just some stuff on your glass. That's nothing. The actual bacterial infection kills corals like overnight. How resilient are Posilopora? As far as SPS goes, it's probably the most resilient. All right, next up, we have a nice sized purple Acropora teraki. It's me, Rix TV. Hello. So going back to one of the guys that helps out here part time, Sean. He also has like a side hobby of like making wine and making beer. He like brews his own. I haven't tried his bottle of wine yet. He was very kind enough to bring over like a bottle of wine for the holidays and just say, just see what you think about this. Well, I happen to be going to like a holiday party. One of my friends from high school, uh, he's in town, and I like to joke that he wrote the book on wine because he actually ghost wrote the textbook for the wine tasting class at Purdue University. So he literally wrote the book on wine, and he knows like so much about it. He's done like so many wine tastings and whatnot. And so I'm gonna be taking Sean's bottle of wine to this party, so my friend and I can sample it. And he's like now thinking, oh great, like it's this little thing I did as a hobby is gonna get like totally chewed apart. But yeah, we'll see. Okay. I have a 277 gallon aquarium. Some days the LPS corals open naturally and some days do not open well. Please, I want your advice. A lot of times, like that fluctuation in corals opening and closing is totally natural. I would more worry if like something just stayed closed for like for an extended period of time. But as with most things, I recommend, upping the water changes and seeing that helps. Okay, let's move on. 83. 80. What? 81. Where am I? 81. Is there a strawberry shortcake? Would you recommend putting a flashing tile fish in a 29? No. They need a lot more swimming room than that, and they also are very prone to jumping. So you kind of have to plan ahead for that. They're expensive, by the way. So if they happen to jump, that's like $200 down the drain. Number, what are we on? 82. This is well, right now we just called it green acropora, but actually this is the frog skin, green frog skin. So I'm going to go ahead and change that real quick. Luke, best SPS for beginners. And go. I wrote an article on this. So check out my YouTube channel. I think I have like a top 5 easy mode SPS, as well as an article in Coral Magazine featuring a lot of really nice photography. So check that out as well. I'll give you a hint. Posilopora. All right. Number 83. And oh my god, I am really drunk right now. It's just starting to like occur to me like this doesn't feel normal anymore.
that video is the easy mode SPS aquarium. Is that video?
Yes, it is.
Can I put a link to that and put it in?
I wouldn't bother putting a link to it. They can find it. We are very Google savvy people in the Tyler Gardens world. Any fish that resembles a torpedo is going to try and jump one day. That's true. Also, any fish that spends its time on the bottom of the aquarium, like sifting sand sifting gobies and like watchman gobies, also guaranteed to jump. They love to jump. All the little bottom dwellers. I think they're Michael Jordan. All right, number 84 is going to be a green acropora once the slider and everything moves. So I know that like a lot of you guys may or may not be into photography, so I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this out there right now. The next video is gonna be very camera centric. Occasionally like to do that just to talk about gear, and because that's one of my hobbies that has sprung up from this particular hobby is cinematography and specifically like cool toys to make videography easier. Uh, I I I don't celebrate a lot of holidays. Like I don't really do very much in the way of like Christmas shopping and stuff like that. So I end up just treating myself, and I got myself some cool toys for the camera stuff. So I'm gonna be talking about that in my next video. A little sneak peek. Here's to the beer. Thanks. New nickname Hoppin' Than. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so this is the green acropora. I wish I knew more about acropora. I could. There's a train in the background. No worries. Number 85 is going to be a purple bonsai, a real small one. I got my first DSLR camera. Going to get a macro lens next. God, this train. Shut up. I got my first DSLR camera, going to get a macro lens next. That's the great thing about macro lenses is that pretty much like the design of a macro lens is like kind of like a tried and true thing. So pretty much any macro lens you get is going to be optically fantastic. So yeah, like once you get your macro lens, you're going to be pretty happy with it. And like technically it's going to be one of like the highest performing lenses of its kind just because of the design of it. Rico's Reef, I wish I could have your C100. I love my C100. I absolutely love it. For me to legitimately upgrade from my C100, I'm looking at about a $14,000 camera to replace it. And do I need that? No, absolutely not. But do I want to? Yes, because I love camera equipment. I'm like a cinematographer at heart, which kind of makes me struggle when it comes to trying to tell a story because that's not what cinematographers do. Cinematographers are very like visually oriented. So I'm actually trying to like put together like a little short film, and I don't know what I'm doing at all. Like I feel like I want to tell the story, but I don't know what the story is. I don't know how to do it, and that sucks because I can like put pretty pictures up on the screen, and it's gonna be miserable because there's no story to talk about. So I'm kind of like learning like how to actually be like a writer director rather than just a cinematographer. So there's that. Nestor Riviera, do you use red filters for blue light? I do not use any filters. It could help in certain situations, but I don't. Every time Than giggles, we take a shot. Go for it. And buy more coral. Okay, so let's go to 86. We're on 86 now, right? Okay, that's another purple bonsai. All right, moving on. Pink bird's nest. Does purple bonsai like a lot of par? Yes, tons. Dave Davis, I for one am happy you're into photography. Thank you. Actually, so Kyle, the person that's in chat right now, I am teaching him how to be a photographer slowly. So within about 12 months, he's gonna be public, like magazine published worthy imagery. Yeah, he's getting there. He's getting there. Number 88, Bird of Paradise. Yeah, photography is like it's very practice related. So if you shoot 10,000 pictures, you're pretty good. All it takes is like shooting over and over and over and over and over again. Just keep shooting. AI Commander or OWL Commander, AI Commander. If I set up a 300 gallon plus home display tank, that'll be 80% mixed coral. What would you recommend for substrate or go bare bottom? I happen to like kind of like a not a gravel substrate, but something a little bit chunkier than sand.
Crushable.
Yeah, like a light crushed coral substrate. So I like that more than like the sugar size sand because it doesn't blow around as much. You're able to siphon it. I'm big proponent of siphoning a gravel sand bed. Um, I don't really like the look of bare bottom. Now, having said that, in this system here that we have like 5,000 gallons. We have a little bit of everything, and we're always going to have a little bit of everything. But I think that as far as my personal preference, I like the look of a substrate. I like how it reflects a lot of like white light back up, kind of like underlights corals. I think that it looks more natural, so I tend to go that route. And I've just found that like corals that are on the substrate tend to do better when it's not just like sugar sized sand. So I like something a little bit chunkier. Uh, what about that documentary with Thomas Brown? So Thomas is like really, really super incredibly busy right now with like doing a lot of like wedding stuff. Cause like he, unlike me, like I do this as a very side related thing to like selling coral and doing some other stuff. So um, that is not like too big of a distraction, but he actually has to do this for a living. So he does like a lot of weddings and stuff like that, and he's been just slammed, completely slammed. So technically it's still on, but we haven't talked about it in a little while. So I decided just to like pass the time. I'm gonna do like a short video for you guys, and that might take a little while to put together because again, I'm more of a cinematographer and not much of a storyteller. Okay, let's move on to 89. So, okay, get this. I have a lot of friends that are really into film. Really into film. So this Christmas, I'm going to be spending some time with two different filmmakers that are like extremely great storytellers. So, like sometimes I like to talk about, oh, I got the sweet gear, right? And it means nothing to this particular group of friends because they are all about story. As far as they're concerned, that camera crap is just camera crap. They do not care because they are completely driven by the narrative. And I, on the other hand, like I said, I think like a cinematographer, like a director of photography. I am all consumed by toys and gadgets and stuff like that, and how to like set up a beautiful looking shot. But to what end? Like, I don't have a story in mind, and so I'm kind of learning the story aspect of it. But then again, I have another friend that actually works like in Hollywood and like doing commercial stuff as a cinematographer. So sometimes I can like bounce gear ideas off of him. But it's important for me to get like exposure to both sides, like the storytelling part where don't worry about the gear. It really doesn't matter. If you have a great story, you can shoot it with an iPhone and it's going to be wonderful. You could have a $1 million camera setup, and if you have no story to tell, it's going to be trash. Like a lot of movies tend to be trash. If this was a spending game, the most expensive movies would be the best movies, and that's clearly not true. All right. Green Halo Montipora. This guy's really cool, by the way. Yeah, you'd think that I'd talk about more coral during like a coral live sale. This guy actually develops a red rim if you hit it with enough light. All right, number 90. It's a green plating Monty. Okay, let's take a look at some of these. Some of these questions on chat. Have you filmed corals close up with your? Oh, he's not asking me that. Never mind. Actually, I was talking to. Let's go to 91. Next coral. I was talking to a friend yesterday about because he was really interested in doing more photography for his business, and he wanted to hire me to do that stuff. And I was like, listen, for me to leave my house, I'm super expensive. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your money. So I was just telling him like just how capable a regular iPhone is. Like, spend more time working on what you really want to communicate to your people, and that's going to be what is going to be the thing that makes it successful. It's not the quality of the image necessarily. And I just like showed him like what an iPhone is really capable of is like incredible. So unless you can very succinctly talk about why you need something expensive to take pictures, use your phone until then. because it'll get you 90% of the way there. That last 10%, you could spend $1 million on to get that last 10%. And is it really worth it in the end? Maybe, maybe not. I do it because I love it, but it's not necessary. It's never necessary. C100 Mark 1 upgrade to C300? No, it can't. But like my choice of camera for the future right now would be a C300 Mark II, and that's like 14 grand. Do I need a 14 grand camera? No. Come on. I make YouTube videos. Nobody needs that. There's like a million great YouTubers, way more successful than me, that shoot on like trash cameras. They don't have a C300 Mark II, but again, I'd like the toys. All right, let's move on. 92. It's a yellow-eyed Montipora. This guy's kind of cool. He's got a purple base with like these bright yellow polyps. Mad Max Fury Road. I love that movie. I think it's an absolute masterpiece. Okay, just for fun, in chat, let me know what was your favorite movie of 2015. I've already told you mine. I think that Mad Max is fantastic. And for it to be an action movie is crazy awesome. All right, let's go look at coral number 93. You know, it just occurred to me that we've gone for like 2 hours now, and I still have about like 60 corals left. Over 60 corals. This is a purple Montipora undata. These are kind of cool because it is an encrusting Montipora, but it has like these weird these patterned ridges. Dude with the guitar. I think the official name for that guy is the Doof Warrior. 94 Scarlet Montipora. So Mad Max is probably the best action movie in a long time. Yeah, and the thing is, like, it's hard to do a good action movie. You can do a lot of trashy, horrible action movies, but to actually have a good action movie like Aliens, for example, is a great action movie. It's so difficult to pull off. Number 95. Orange Montipora setosa. So, Socrates Bantis, how old are you? I am 39 and a half. Like that I threw the half in there. I'm like a 6-year-old, where like that extra half matters. Michael, who's that director that does New World? Terrence Malick. Okay. So I saw this guy's YouTube video where he was saying gear does not matter. And to prove his point, he linked a video where he got like 15 million views. And like, you know, it completely went viral. And he says, I shot it on this like $75 Walmart camera. It's like story is everything. Story is the king. All this other stuff serves the king, which is the story. Like cinematography and everything. And so Michael, film buff Michael, you know, he's like, he loves this particular movie called The New World by Terrence Malick. And Terrence Malick is like, he's a director that is very cinematographically driven. And his movies look beautiful, but they don't tell a story very well. So they kind of like go through these awkward phases, and like it's kind of almost torturous to watch some of these films. Like, I don't quite know if I get this art house crap, but it looks beautiful. Good. 96. Let's move on.
See that question about flash cams?
Flash.
Are there any good SPS, predominantly LPS, right?
10 gallon. Any good SPS for that? Honestly, not really. But if you're gonna try anything, I would like lean towards like maybe stylophoras or pastylophoras. Those are like the most forgiving. Um, so yeah, when it comes to like there are like these cinematographer types that are making movies, that are directors, and sometimes they get lost in their own garble where they make a beautiful looking movie but the movie itself isn't good. So yeah, sometimes I have to rein myself back because I focus so much on like cool gear because I like cool gear, but really my focus should be more on what am I really trying to communicate to people, not making the prettiest image possible. Sounds like so Kyle, the Mad Max haters, like sounds like I'm talking about Mad Max is a masterpiece. Masterpiece. All right, 97. Who directed Mad Max, Michael? George Miller. George. It's George Miller, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, George Miller. He worked on that for 16 years. Perfect. So I say that like Star Wars: The Force Awakens is not a perfect film. I think Mad Max is really getting close. Fury Road is really close, but it doesn't matter that Star Wars Episode 7 is not perfect. It's so good. Yeah, dialogue in Mad Max, that's the beauty of it. There's a version of Mad Max that is in black and white that only has the sound effects and the music and has no dialogue, and that version is still awesome. I'm about to make a movie with my phone, my old Nokia. Go for it. You can do it. All right, let's go to 98. This is a pink Monty Digitata. I'm telling you, like a lot of like the most successful people that are like making video nowadays, you can absolutely do it with your phone. There are limitations. You have to kind of like work around these limitations, but it's absolutely doable. What about Cephastria Astropora for that 10 gallon? Might be possible if you have dark enough areas, T-Brook. We're going to get into some Cephastria later on in this particular live sale. But yeah, it's like basically the dimmer the aquarium, the better they'll do. That's what I found. All right. I don't know who the person was asking about Leptocyrus, but we are at that point in the game. 99, the first of all of our Leptocyrus. This is a neon green variety. The best character arc was the dude who died at the end of Mad Max. I kind of agree. That or Furiosa. I think that those both were excellent characters. And, you know, Mad Max has never been the story. Like, in any of the Mad Max movies, if you really, like, pay attention to it, it's never really about him. It's like he kind of ends up in a situation which is really this other group's story. And the whole movie is kind of told through his lens. So I thought that's always kind of like a curious thing about Mad Max movies in general. It's really never about the title character. It's always somebody else. And so Mad Max Fury Road very clearly is about Imperator Furiosa. And I'm cool with that. Okay, let's go. Number 100. Jack-o'-lanterns. And you can check out his super long sweeper tentacles. The other thing I like about both the recent Mad Max film and the recent Star Wars film is the amount of practical effects they use versus CGI. There's a ton of practical effects in both, and and that also brings out a lot in like the actors' performances, so that's also very cool. All right, 101. A second jack-o'-lantern. You all right? Need a cigarette?
No.
All right.
No, quite the opposite. I think that's my problem.
Thank you for clarifying substrate. That was a question that Felix. I'm slightly drunk, but I'm sure that still doesn't make sense even if I was sober. Please rephrase if you want an answer. Okay, 102. In a moment. It will be an ultra leptocyrus once we get there. I was watching the amount of sets that they made. So cool. They actually made the Millennium Falcon, painted and all. Yeah, it really makes a big difference because like when you go back and watch the prequels, which are like in my opinion absolutely terrible, you can really appreciate that much more the movies that did rely more on practical effects versus a green screen. And like poor Ewan McGregor. Like that guy, I'd say like 90% of the time that he was actually in Star Wars was probably like acting by himself, not having any like visual cues. He has to like pretend that there's some CGI monster that he's talking to. It's like it shows. Like he came across like such like so flat and just no emotion. Horrible. All right. 103. Golden Leptocyrus. Hey Than, how was your vacation? It's awesome. I wish I was still on vacation. Wonderful. Hawaii is like so crazy that like you could be there in person and the stuff that you see seems fake. Like how could this be real? And that's how amazing Hawaii is. I'd love to live in Hawaii. Man, don't get me started on that vacation again. Yeah. You might hear some things that you don't want to hear. Three-nippled men and stuff. Okay, next one is another golden lepto, number 104. And number 105 is a smaller golden lepto. So if you're just looking to get started in it, these are pretty fast-growing corals. All right. You've seen enough leptos, I guess. Let's go to 106. This is a tiny little green Samacora. Samacora like a weird SPS that not too many people pay much attention to. But they're neat. Hey Than, when are you coming to the Bahamas? The diving here is amazing. I literally would put up $1 of my own money to pay for your trip. I would like to get back to the Caribbean, actually. The diving there, I think like the Caribbean is really underrated. I think a lot of times people kind of have this bias towards the Pacific. But looking back at some dive footage that I had from the Caribbean, and that's actually where I got certified in diving, was in Mexico. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of am really digging the whole the whole Caribbean experience. Awesome. Did you get a chance to dive at all? Yes. So I'm going to tell the story again. So I went on 4 dives. The first 2 were kind of, okay, they're in Kauai. So this next up, item number 107. So the first couple dives were okay. The second 2 dives were really pretty adventurous. Like I went on my first 100-foot dive, and whenever you go deeper, there's also like a lot more like I guess like sense of danger that you kind of have to deal with. A lot more technical stuff as far as like what pressure does. But I got to see like a really cool wreckage of like a Corsair aircraft from World War II. And I really had to like struggle with like the current there, which is like super strong. But before I even got in the water, it was really kind of funny because that was the advanced dive that I signed up for. And like the people that were on the boat with me were like all geared to the gills, you know, like as much as I talk about, you know, getting all geared up to do cinematography, these guys were geared up to do diving. Like they had these like masks that completely cover your face so there's nothing in your mouth, and they're able to like hook up these, you know, communication systems so they can talk to each other and stuff. Like they're like all this kind of crazy like Navy SEAL stuff. They had like cameras on each hand. They had like, cameras on their head, cameras on like these like motorized like devices that are kind of like jet skis underwater. It was completely crazy. And then there's me, and I'm like, it's been since 2012 since I was certified. I kind of don't know what I'm doing anymore, and I just don't want to die. That's all. And I'm like, and once we got on the boat, everybody's like furiously putting together their gear. Let's go into 108. And so everybody's like furiously putting together their gear. And I was like sitting there thinking, huh, should I be doing something? Because I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And I just hope that I don't forget something, because if I forget something, I'm probably going to die. So luckily, I'm back and alive, but it was a bit of an adventure. New dive gear equals newbie? Dude, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, number 109. Let's move on. Get some green or some orange Florida Recordia. Rico's Reef. I got that Coral 106 and from Trinidad and Tobago. That's cool. Very cool. Caribbean's a really, really interesting place to grow up. Like, I visited a few different islands out in the Caribbean. It's a very different lifestyle. Okay, so going back to the Hawaii thing, speaking of different lifestyle. So the first few days, first almost week, I spent in Kauai, which is like super like laid back, super slow pace of living, and they have a million chickens running around. It's like the entire island is inhabited by chickens that got out during like a tropical cyclone one year, and so there's like chickens everywhere. And then we island hopped back to Oahu, to Waikiki, which is basically Las Vegas without the gambling, right on the water. It's like downtown Chicago, right there. And it's like super wild. Like it was a culture shock for me. Like I just spent like 5 days or something in Kauai, like some podunk Kauai, tropical paradise, and I end up in Waikiki. It's like complete craziness. There's like like every person's like Japanese suddenly, and there's like tons of traffic, and there's like tons of like skyscrapers. It was totally wild. Okay. Next up, 110. Do you export to Canada? No, we don't export anywhere, unfortunately. Fried or steamed chicken? I'm a pescatarian now. I don't eat any chicken. Before, I think I like grilled chicken. Back when I did eat chicken. All right. Next up is actually, yeah, green Florida Recordia. Okay, so part of my face here at Special Effects, it's because it's basically nighttime here now. And so this part of my face is lit up by aquarium lighting. So I'm all like sci-fi right now. See that? Uh, uh. This is what actinic light does. That's how natural it is to the camera. See that? No, don't turn it off. They'll screw stuff up. Worse. Okay, let's go on 112. This is a small interstellar mushroom. Last time I did a live sale, I was hoping to have a flashlight that I could show like more of an actinic look, and I ordered it. But I ordered it too late, and I didn't order it from Amazon. I ordered it from like an actual aquarium store, trying to like help out aquarium stores. I should have ordered it on Amazon because they would have been here for this broadcast. Unfortunately, it's not here. It's going to arrive on Monday, so sometime next month you might see like the actual LED actinic flashlight, actinic versus 10K-ish look. So unfortunately, you cannot see the grandeur that is this interstellar mushroom. Yeah, I'm turning into a coral. True. 113. Let's move on. Thanks, Mac. Have a good one. Pink Discosoma, 25. Outer Limits. Is that even a thing anymore? When was the last time Outer Limits was on TV? Long time ago. It's like I'm super old, so like I remember like original black and white Twilight Zone, but Outer Limits. Yeah. All right, 114 is a green spot Discosoma. And I'm out of beer, guys. Sorry, but this is as drunk as I'm gonna get. Okay, moving on. 115. Let's go to 115. It's like a yellow Recordia Yuma. And I need to take a bathroom break. So anybody else here needs to take a bathroom break? Now's the time. Be right back. So 115. I'm gonna throw up the rules in case anybody needs it. Be right back.
Oh yeah. Where are we at? Nice. So could you like you fell What? Look over to the side.
I'm back. I made it. All right. Now that he stood up, he'll be able to tell how drunk he really is. I'm good. I'm doing all right. All right. We're waiting for Kyle. He's outside smoking a cigarette. It's a terrible habit, by the way. Don't do it. Kids at home, don't do it. What number are we on? 115? Yeah. All right. Let's move on. 116. This is the lava lamp. We might need to turn up the exposure just a little bit to brighten it up. I'm also joining you in the live sale drinking. I think it's a good addition to the live sales. So this is terrible. Like, and I absolutely don't want to make it sound like I'm a huge advocate of drinking or anything like that, because I know that like you can absolutely abuse this, and it's not really cool when that happens. But I think most people would actually agree that I'm a lot more fun when I'm drunk, and it doesn't happen very often. So there's that. All right, moving on. 117, the red marbled mushroom. Smoking bad, drinking good. I'd argue that both are pretty bad. Depends on also what you're smoking too. I know there's a lot of potheads out there that really like the weeds. That's totally not my thing at all. I know like some people are like super, they love it, and their description of their experience is completely different than my experience with it. So there's that. 118, green hairy Rhodactus. This guy's like really, really tiny. But these guys can get pretty big. They get like, 2 inches or so pretty fast. All right, 119, red Discosoma. The previous one that you might have seen was like more pink. This is more of a deep red. PC is self-medicated. What's PC? What?
That's rough.
PC? I don't think so.
Personal computer. Yeah, I think so.
Smoking makes you appreciate the colors of the corals more. LOL. Not me. It makes me go to sleep, and it makes me really dumb and paranoid because I don't understand anybody's jokes. Okay, moving on. 121. It's going to be a pink Cephastria. Somebody was asking me Cephastria earlier. I think it was in about a 10-gallon aquarium. Uh, you could probably keep these guys. I don't think they really do much in the way of like coral combat or anything. And as long as you kind of have like a low enough lighting system, they'll probably do better. So this is actually 120, the meteor shower Cephastria. Check the focus on that, Michael. Could be a little bit sharper. There you go. Good. All right. Next up, 121. This is the pink Cephastria. Smoking the wrong strain. It's sort of involved just like our hobby. I don't doubt that. But my experience has been pretty consistent the couple times I did it. One time in Colorado, so technically that was legally. So Macna was in Colorado 2 years ago. The last one was in DC. The previous one was in Colorado. And I would say about everybody was high during the Colorado trip. There's like a couple people that I know that probably weren't for like religious for religious reasons and stuff. But I'm gonna go ahead and like throw it out there that a lot of people were probably high. 122 Harlequin Cephastria, and definitely check focus on that, please. Next up, 123. This is the yellow Leptastrea. It's got some yellows and some greens, actually. For whatever reason, it's appearing a little bit more purple on screen. However, I think in person, it's that purple coloration you're seeing is really kind of muted. And it's a little dark. If you could lighten that up just a tad, that would help. There we go. Hardcore Franny, hello. Okay, number 124, moving on. This is the orange Leptastrea. This is more like orange and purple. Like you don't see the purple at all on this one, but the purple would be like between the two between all the different polyps. I know that like we haven't talked about it much yet, but like I listen to like the Joe Rogan podcast occasionally, and he loves like the isolation tank, which is a tank that you float. It's like a tank that has like a really concentrated saltwater solution with Epsom salt, and it's dark, and the idea is that it's like a sensory deprivation environment where like the salt water is heated to basically your body temperature, and so you don't really feel the difference, the change from like the water to the air, and you just float there, and you don't hear anything, you don't see anything because it's dark, and kind of like when you're in there with your own head, you can really like relax, and then sometimes people like get like hallucinations and stuff like that because it's so trippy. So I've done that flotation tank a few times, and I've never had like hallucinations or anything. Now it was great for relaxation. Like the relaxed feeling I got from it lasted days, like 2 days, 3 days. It was wonderful. But I didn't have like the hallucinations that people were claiming. Well, Joe Rogan didn't mention until later the fact that he would take freak out quantities of marijuana and then get into the tank. And that makes more sense to me. So sometimes, yeah, I wonder about like people's experiences and how they describe it, and when they kind of leave out parts about them smoking like huge quantities of weed before doing it. All right, next up, 125. This is a blue leptide. We don't usually sell these very often. We don't have very many of them, but it is a blue version of that Leptastrea. By the way, if anybody wants to do like that sensory deprivation tank or float tank, it is well worth it. I thought it was like the coolest experience, and I like it so much that if I had the room in my house, I would actually consider installing one so I could do the float thing maybe like for 2 hours a night. It's so good. It's so relaxing, and for whatever reason, that relaxation has like such staying power. It's not like, oh, I got a nice massage and I feel great. It's like it lasts and lasts and lasts. So like if I could kind of get that feeling like all the time, it might be worth it to install something like that. Powerful Joe Rogan experience. All right, next up, 126. Blue lithophyllin variety of chalices. One of the more obscure varieties of chalice out there. You might have to darken that one, Michael. That one's a little overexposed. Okay. Right, next up, 127. I got my first fish in inverts today. How long will my fish be hiding for? I have a springerai damsel. Not really sure. I'd say that after a week, if it's still hiding, that might be an issue. Springerai damsels don't typically hide a lot. So springerai damsels, if you're not familiar, they're like blue with like black speckles. And the real nice thing about them is that they actually eat flatworms off your glass. Like those, kind of like those rust-colored nuisance flatworms. However, we have several springerai here that have kind of stopped doing it.
And they add more fish and get better and better.
Yeah. So Kyle says if you add more fish, it gets better and better. I don't like the idea of adding a lot of fish. I'm like super conservative when it comes to like fish stocking levels. All right, 128 pink and gray chalice. I have a place in Dayton here that's $50 an hour for a float tank. My place is $50 an hour as well, but I found like a Groupon deal that was like 10 sessions for $150. So like, check your Groupon just in case. I know Groupon really isn't much of a thing anymore, but that's actually a really good deal. Like 10 float tank sessions for about 150, 160 bucks. And yeah, damsels can be pretty mean. Like springerai tend to be real chill, but even mine have started to bite me. All right, 129. It's our cookies and cream chalice. Yeah, Timothy, there's something to be said for that. Like a lot of times, fish are just ornamental, but fish that actually perform a function are really nice. Okay, 130. Insane Carnival Chalice. A lot of pinks and yellows in this one. Out of curiosity in chat, how many of you guys have ever done acupuncture? I have never done it myself, but I'm super curious about it. I know that it works and it's not just like placebo, because I was talking to my vet because I have cats, and I was talking to my vet, and she was talking about like during veterinary school, they actually had to sit in on a demonstration for acupuncture, and at the time she was thinking that it was kind of like some kind of like Eastern hippie nonsense, but like when they started to do like all these procedures with acupuncture on like these dogs, like the dogs that were like in pain starting in the procedure, like were completely normal dogs at the end of it. And like dogs, there's no placebo effect. They're animals. They're not gonna like get worked up. It's like, oh, you know, acupuncture is like so cool, metaphysical stuff. No, their body just felt better afterwards. So I'm like really, really curious. Yeah, here I see one person in chat there that says, yeah, it works. There's a place like down the street, and I think I just want to like get like an acupuncture touch up. All right, 131. It's a golden chalice. Dave said he did it once, not sure how effective it was. Okay. $132. What?
Not gonna make it to it.
All right, we'll get there in a second. We'll be in a Hollywood stunner chalice. I had a coworker who couldn't raise his arms above his head and was going to physical therapy for a long time. ... Oh, and if you haven't already noticed, that Kyle on chat right now is a lot more into fish than I am. That's kind of his thing. He's more into the fish and the coral. So of course, working at Tidal Gardens, he sees no fish and lots of coral. But that's probably why you're getting a lot of information about fish from him. All right, so 132 here is the Hollywood Stunner. Yeah, physical therapy didn't help him, but acupuncture made him jump up and down. I hear stories like that a lot when it comes to acupuncture, so I am kind of curious. And Rico's Reef, yeah, I definitely recommend trying the float tank at least once. Just don't get into your eyes. Like the salt is like super, super, super intense. So if you get into your eyes, it's gonna hurt a lot. I'm late. Hello. Welcome. 133. Let's move on. So we started just making some random Zoa clusters and just kind of gluing them to some dead coral that we have. So I'm not really sure what all these are. Some of them are like, you know, oh, hey, did you see that? That was a little pipefish that stuck his head in there. So they're just like a combination of some Zoas that we have overgrowing stuff and just kind of like made some consolidated little frags and stuff here. And you can kind of check out the little fish there while we're at it. That's a dragon face pipefish. Number 134. Let's move on. Another Zoa. There's 5 of these total. Quickly moving on. 136 or 135. Sorry. What number are we on over there?
135.
Okay, so let's go to 136. Yeah, I see some radioactive dragon eyes. I see some, like, you know, red people eaters and stuff like that. Are Hollywood stunners as variable as they appear? Under certain lighting, they actually develop orange. Stuff like that. I also got Trocus snails that are having a hard time flipping themselves back over. This is normal. For Trocus snails, that is uncommon. Usually Trocuses are very good at flipping themselves over. Asteria snails tend to need some help. So yeah, they might be starving. Sometimes when like snails like drop over and fall on their back and can't get up, sometimes it's because they're actually starving. It's kind of sad. And yeah, pipefish, they eat red bugs that are on acros. Let's see, next up 137. It should be another Zoa combo.
This is actually 136. I just couldn't see it here.
That was 136. All right, let's.
This is 136.
Okay, let's go to 137 then. Are you sure that's not 138? Okay, that's 137 there.
This one is, yeah.
Okay, so let's then go on to 138, which is like another combo, but it might be smaller. Yeah.
You see what tattoo craze typed in.
Dan, the live sale playlist needs to be updated. Not sure what that means. Okay. Yeah, like on the channel maybe. Yeah, I haven't looked at that in a while. so I'll take a look. So this 138, it looks like it's got radioactive dragon eyes and some Jack Frost pallies on it. Okay, 139. Get some pink and gold pallies. Okay, moving on to 140. Are some Fruit Loop Zoas. Small but super colorful. Looks like there's like at least 4 polyps there. What Zoas are on 137? Honestly, I don't even know all the names of those. It's like some random stuff. Really random. I had some Jack Frost that changed color to green. Is that normal? Any differences in lighting and chemistry are going to result in some different coloration. So yeah, I'd say it's normal. Timothy, it kind of depends. I would probably even like grow out sections of like live rock and stuff in different places where there's not herbivore activity, and see if that will kind of like culture stuff, because I think they like the films and things like that more than anything. Okay, next up, number 142. These are actually no, 141. I'm sorry. These are Fiji hypercolors. And can you like change the focus on that just a little bit? There we go. Perfect. All right, next up, number 142 is the mellow yellow Zoas. Glue or putty? All right, number 143. These are some creamsicle Zoas. What's the best color you've ever seen on Zoas? Zoas come in like a variety of colors. It's not so much the actual color themselves, but I think it's like the patterns and stuff that make them more interesting. So I really typically like Rastas and Fruit Loops a lot. That's just my personal opinion. Next up, 144 are Sakuras. Kind of cool because they have like almost like a lemonade-ish pink and yellow towards the middle, like towards the mouth. Can I just add extra food? You could try. Sometimes like snails just have very, very specific feeding requirements when it comes to algae, and sometimes like once that algae runs out, they don't do so well. Do you use glue or putty on the Zoa clusters? I use glue. Okay, next up, 145, blue hornets. I almost never use putty. I almost always use gel super glue. Okay, 146. Some red hornet Zoas. In a second. We ran out of space on the slider. Yeah, for whatever reason, I tend to do a lot of gluing. Look at this crazy special effects, guys. I'm going over to the dark side. How many corals are you guys showing? We're on 146 right now, and the last one is 160. So if you came late, you can scrub back all the way to the beginning and see all the ones that are still available. Thoughts on Eco Glue? I hear it's pretty good. I don't know if I've ever actually used it myself. I know other people here have used it. They kind of like it, and it's actually more cost effective, I think, in like the larger quantities if you can use it before it all dries up. Okay, so this guy here is the red hornets. So any kind of like zoanthid that's a hornet, the kind of the defining feature. Oftentimes people like look at that ring has like the hornet thing. That's kind of a thing. But really what it is, it's like the tentacles are alternating like dark and light. So Zach says that you save money in glue and just use the Gorilla Glue gel. So that's kind of what we do. We use like the super glue stuff that's like gel super glue. As long as it's like 100% cyanocrylate, that's fine. But and it's nice because like you use it and you run out and you just throw it away because it's small quantities. Excuse me.
Are the Acros and the Zoas in the same system?
Our systems are all mixed. So in some cases, yes. So you would save money if like you didn't use very much glue. But if you use like a ton of glue all the time, like if you're gluing like hundreds of frags, a larger container tends to have like a lower cost per ounce. Okay, let's move on. 147. Some Agent Orange Zoas. Oh my gosh, it's like almost 6 o'clock. Almost a 3-hour show, you guys. Alright, 148 Jack Frost Pallies. You can darken that just a little bit too. Right now they actually look pinkish. In the summertime they look more bluish. Alright, 149. Alright, next up 150. So item number 150 are the Mantis Zoas. And the combo rocks actually had some of these. John Sanders, I want to start a tank with green star polyps. Can use different colonies while I need to use just one. I don't know if it really matters that much.
I've done it.
Well, I mean, what's the benefit of using different colonies?
They're really just spreading from here to there, but
Yeah, like it doesn't really matter much. There's different varieties of green star polyps. If you wanted to mix, that could be a reason. Okay, next up, 151 are some different combo Zoas. So actually, if you have any last minute questions, we're on our last 10 corals, so now is a good time to ask questions before we head off into the holidays and all that other stuff. 152 Cat's Eye Zoas. There might have been some of these on those combo rocks as well. Okay, number 153. These are some Rasta Zoas. You can see like the difference in size with some of these Zoas. And Rastas and also Fruit Loops tend to be some of the smallest ones, but I like their coloration the most. Alright, 154. These are Date Night Zoas. Some great pink coloration there. Okay. Next up, 155. What do you want for Christmas? I don't want anything for Christmas. Technically, my Christmas present from my parents was they helped finance my trip to Hawaii. So when it comes to Christmas and gifts, I am good. Like, I have no complaints. I have no like wish list. I'm actively telling people, don't get me anything for Christmas. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Like I'm covered. And then I also like I take care of like myself in that like I have that treat yourself mentality. Like if you really want something, buy it for yourself. Don't like put it on somebody else to hopefully buy it for you. So I got some like some toys for my camera, and in my next video I'll cover that. Like, I know many of you obviously are here to talk about corals, and that's great. but very occasionally I'll do like a camera equipment rundown or kind of camera centric stuff just to break up the monotony. And I definitely went overboard treating myself this time around, so I'll share some of that with you.
Are we able to ship to Alaska?
Yes, we are able to ship to Alaska. There's a special shipping option for Alaska, which I think is an additional $20. You have to purchase that as well. Looking for white glove polyps. Not sure what those are.
Guessing that next load.
Yeah, it could be cloves. It could be pipe Oregon, which we had on this live sale. My corals are browning out. Um, that might be a lighting issue. It could be. A lot of times, corals tend to get a little bit browner in certain types of lighting.
What varieties of macroalgae do we get in?
Hold on. I accidentally hit flat rate shipping on a couple of purchases. Yes, that is fixable. We will be shipping on Monday. And if you did pay for shipping twice, don't worry about it. We do refund that. Why do so many people put frog spawns, torch, octospawn, and anemones right next to other corals? Sometimes they can't help it because those guys just tend to extend a lot and end up doing it. Also, they have a lot weaker stings than people would think for something like that. Rico's Reef. I want to see 100 and 100 millimeter macro. That's kind of what I use. It's really nice. Your friend's doing research on Zoas. Any updates? I know they had your camera. Okay, so going back to the whole diving thing. So I had let these two girls in Okinawa borrow, basically have my underwater camera rig, and because I figured like they would be able to to crank out a lot more dive videos and stuff like that because obviously they're diving all the time out there doing research on different corals. Well, it turns out that diving in Okinawa is like legit terrifying, treacherous. So remember when I was talking about like the currents and stuff like that I was seeing in Hawaii? It's way worse in Okinawa. So you have the benefit of having some of the most amazing reefs in the world in Okinawa, but it's absolutely you are taking your life into your own hands every single time you get into the water there. And I know that just from like my experiences in current in Hawaii, the idea of me taking a camera down there is ridiculous because I wouldn't survive and the camera would just end up on the ocean floor. So I do not hold it against them at all that they haven't sent me very much camera footage. I'm like, don't get yourself killed for my sake. All right, next up, 156. These are some pink nebula zoas. Also, my friends over there, they're not only doing research on zoanthus and paleothoa, but that's their educational side, what they do in graduate school, but they're also doing some research on octopi, or octopuses. Octopi is not a word, I found out. So octopuses. And they can't really talk about their research, but they share pictures of all these different octopuses all the time. It's kind of neat. So yeah, that's still a thing, but again, it's like I'm not gonna ask these girls to like go shooting in the ocean and get themselves killed. Doesn't do anybody any good. Okay, next up, 157. We've got a rock of some purple death paleothoa. Okay, 158. We have a combo of some random zoas, some of which are blue, which is kind of cool. Torches, anemones right next to other corals. Well, here's the thing. They are going to sting. Like, I said that their stings are weaker, but they're still stings. So you kind of have to be mindful of that. People oftentimes put hammers, torches, and frog spawn right next to each other because it's like they don't damage each other. In reality, they are still doing some kind of combat. So it's not ideal. Do you normally carry a variety of macroalgae? We've got one or two different types. We're growing certain types, but it doesn't grow nearly as fast as like the demand for it. So we don't really have like a dedicated algae system that's very large. It's like only a couple 30-gallon tanks. But maybe in the future we'll scale it up. 158. is what we're on. 159 is our last actual coral that we're going to show are some green pallies. Bright green pallies. And lastly, which we're not going to show, is a 20 pack of Astrea snails for 20 bucks. So it's a little bit of a discount off of our normal. Yeah, macroalgae is kind of a cool thing. Like, we have several different varieties, but again, they don't grow that fast for us. You would think that they would grow a lot faster. But hopefully, like in the future, we can actually dedicate some space to growing them. What's the yellow mouth on 158? Could you scroll back to 158 real fast? I don't remember which one that was. Yeah, I don't know the names of that one. I'm not sure. I've forgotten more names of Zoas than I even remember right now. There's so many names for these guys. Yeah, you can do some cool stuff with Zoas, or I'm sorry, with different types of macroalgae, especially now that like refugiums and stuff like that are so popular. So there, yeah, I could definitely see how the demand for macroalgae has increased. Okay, we've hit the six o'clock hour almost. It's 5:53. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like, after like the initial issues on YouTube with just getting this stream up, I am like super grateful that you guys have like also kind of figured it out with me and were able to join us. I was absolutely worried that we wouldn't even have a live sale because it's like I don't even know how to broadcast. Like it was like so stressful early on. Like we just hit this like technical roadblock. I'm just thinking, this is clearly a bug. Like, how do I fix this? And so, yeah, I think Michael suggested, why don't you just like completely recreate a different event and try to broadcast that? And sure enough, that worked out. So thanks again for you guys for like sticking with us here. And I hope you had a good time. And I hope you actually have a good holidays. Obviously, I haven't even really hit the holiday season yet, but I'm good. Hawaii solves a lot of holiday issues. So I needed the vacation. I'm glad I got it. So looking forward to this for this next upcoming year. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the show. And yeah, we'll be in touch. Thanks again, guys. I'll talk to you later.